This segment of Labatt Buffalo Main Event is brought to you by
Kaz Electronics, your gadget source with referral rewards.
And we're back on Labatt Buffalo Main Event. I'm Brad Ryder along with Bob Gaughan and Mark Gaughan. Somehow we were able to get a hold of him. And he joins us from the Buffalo News. Mark will be a part once again of the Hall of Fame selection process, and you've been doing it for quite some time now. Obviously, the top Buffalo Bill eligible, once again, is going to be Andre Reed. Is this his year? Does he have a year coming up?
I think it could be Andre's year. He's got a legitimate shot. This is his, should be his second year with a great shot to get in. Last year he had Thurman Thomas in with him as a finalist. And it's tough for two players from the same team to get in any year. It's almost impossible. Receivers generally take longer to get in the Hall of Fame for whatever reason. There's because of the great numbers that receivers are putting up in terms of yards and catches. There's a bit of a concern long term that if you just go on numbers, the door of the Hall of Fame will swing too wide open, and it'll be like the Pro Football Hall of Fame of wide receivers. Right. And that is somewhat of a valid concern. But Andre has great credentials. He's sixth all-time in catches. And he was great in big games. I mean, his signature game being the comeback game against Houston. Marv Levy calls him, after Jerry Rice, the greatest run after the catch receiver ever in the NFL. And while that's hard to prove, the numbers, given his numbers, it can't be too far off. He had great toughness, and I think what set Andre apart was his toughness and his run after the catch ability.
Now, I know they sometimes, put people together. Is he a better candidate than Art Monk? Because it will come down to that in the room, which one, if either one of them. Is he a better candidate in your eyes than Art Monk?
Well, I think I would say to any fan, you watched the games, you watched Andre, you watched Art Monk, who was more of a game breaker. Mm-hmm. I think Andre was more of a game breaker, but you can't really knock down one candidate in favor of another when you're making debating points in the room. Art Monk has very similar numbers to Andre. He's got 3 Super Bowl rings. Andre doesn't have any. So Art Monk has been a finalist 8 years in a row, hasn't gotten in. It would help Andre if Art Monk got in. If Andre doesn't get in this year, but Art Monk gets in, that's a victory for Andre.
Are there arguments against Andre other than he's got to wait until Art Monk? I mean, if you're making a case for Andre Reed, is there a case being made against him by anyone?
Yes, there is. He has great support, as evidenced by the fact he's been a finalist. Mm-hmm. And if you get to the finals, your chances of eventually getting in are very, very good. It just takes a while. But there is some debate over Thurman was really the engine of the offense, along with Jim Kelly, and maybe a lot of receivers could have thrived in that role. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't agree with that.
But at one point, I think somebody is going to say, the Buffalo Bills never won a Super Bowl. Bruce is getting in next year.
Somebody has to pay for it.
Somebody's got to pay for the fact that this team never won a Super Bowl. At what point does it become tough for you? Because you got to make the case for these guys that, yes, we still need an extra Buffalo Bill in the Hall of Fame, even though this team never won a Super Bowl.
I think that I think time will win out. He'll win out over time. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's going to be a horde of people passing him on the all-time receiving list, mm-hmm. and he is greatly appreciated. And I think after time, he will win out. It's just a question of when, and receivers take a while. Lynn Swann took 18 years, John Stallworth took 14 years, Don Maynard took 5 years, on and on down the list. It takes a while.
What's next for the Bills? Obviously, Bruce Smith. Then are we done with that era as far as putting guys in the Hall?
Well, there is. We'll see. There's lots of. Every team has many candidates. Ralph Wilson. Being a founding member of the American Football League. Steve Tasker is a candidate. Steve Tasker has made the round of 25 a couple times, and he has some solid support among the voters.
If I gave you a golden ticket to put somebody in the Hall of Fame that you've sat there, that's gotten passed over time and time again, who would you give the golden ticket to?
Well, ignoring the Buffalo candidates, because obviously I have to be the advocate for Buffalo candidates. But aside from them, I would say Bob Hayes changed the game, Dallas receiver, great player. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. If I had a couple more golden tickets, I'd go with Ken Stabler, one of my favorites from the Oakland Raiders. If you had to win a game in the 70s, one game, who would you want? Would you pick Fran Tarkenton, Bob Griese, or Ken Stabler to win the game? Bob Griese and Fran Tarkenton in the Hall of Fame. I think I'd pick Ken Stabler to win that game. And a couple others would be some defensive players. Ken Riley, Dick LeBeau, Johnny Robinson he was on the All-AFL team with Kansas City. They're all in the top 10 in interceptions. There's 163 players in the Hall of Fame, only 58 defensive players.
Is there a trend right now as far as who's going in, whether it's linemen or receivers, any sort of push going on?
No, I think there is a bit of a greater awareness of this disparity on defensive players, but it's just easier to judge the tangible numbers of running backs, receivers, and quarterbacks. Maybe that's part of it. I think it's tilted a little bit too much. There needs to be, over the next 10 years, some more defensive players getting in.
Mark Gaughan joining us from the Buffalo News. We'll be back in just a moment. It's Labatt, the Buffalo main event, and we'll wrap things up with a commentary, Bob Gaughan and myself, Brad Ryder, on Labatt, Buffalo main event.
It's so normal to feel this overwhelming pressure to just have to do it all. We understand what that's like. Bristol Home and Bristol Village and any other residents that's out there will tell you we see it every day, day in and day out. Families come in, and usually it's at that point where they say, we just don't know what to do anymore. So think about it, don't feel as though you're alone, and ask for help. Early intervention is key. Planning ahead is key.
Bristol Home and Bristol Village, assisted living where family matters.
The third annual Labatt Blue USA Hockey Pond Hockey Championship, Eagle River, Wisconsin. Grab your own pond hockey helmet toque in specially marked cases. No purchase necessary, must be at least 21 years of age or older.